Hey Sridhar, it's wonderful being back here, and every time we are at this event, we get a chance to hear your thoughts and your views on where the industry is headed. We've had a chance to look at the numbers, we have had a chance to see what's happening in the marketplace, and you guys are definitely performing beyond expectations. One of the conversation points that you've always had is the social consciousness that's behind your organization. And I really wanted to start there because that is the set of principles that drive almost everything you do here.
Yeah.
And one of those is a concept you've been talking about for a long time, translocalism. What does that mean to you, and how do we relate that given all the events that are happening around the world today?
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for coming here to McAllen all the way. Ray, it's really appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And transnational localism, that's what we have called it. It's really about getting closer to the customers at one level, just talk about business first. But beyond that, it's also putting back into communities the income needed from technology, create good jobs in smaller communities, which people are not doing. We are not doing enough of.
Yep.
So those two are both, integral part of it. We have done this successfully in India. This whole idea of creating jobs in smaller communities, which don't have these high-paying jobs. We're doing it here now.
Yeah, it's a great point, right? I mean, so much of tech has been centralized.
Yes.
You think of cities like Silicon Valley as an area of concentration.
Right.
New York is an area of concentration. London's an area of concentration. Bangalore is an area of concentration. Hyderabad, right? But we forget like some of the other areas need those opportunities.
Opportunities, yeah.
But it also starts with one of the things that you've been doing a while. Is you've had schools, you've had teaching, you've had training. Those things have been there for quite some time. Not everybody puts that into place.
Yeah. So it came from, how do you source talent from there? We say we create it, we nurture it, we run our own schools. That's how we answered it, and that requires us to take a long-term view. Like you cannot just go hire for a rec today and then be productive like 2 weeks later, which is to an extent it's a little bit of a mythology around it that people believe they're doing it, but if you really probe into it, they'll see that maybe about 40-50% of their hires don't actually work out.
No.
Sometimes they admit it, sometimes they don't to themselves. Because nobody wants to admit that they have been a poor recruiter. And it's not about them being a poor recruiter. It's just that within a kind of an interview process, you really cannot tell the fit, culture fit, a lot of things that go into making somebody successful at work. So we believe that first we have to create and nurture the talent. That automatically brings in good people to us over a period of time.
Yeah, what is interesting about this is like you take some of the numbers in the US, for example, there are 10 million jobs that weren't available. Now it's 5 million jobs that are still open. We still have a shortage, and especially in tech skills, that's a big shortage everybody has. At the same time, we've got the rise of AI and automation that's happening. And so people are wondering, are we going to be out of jobs? Well, the question is, are we out of meaningful work? The interesting thing is when you take the long view, as you guys have been looking at, it sounds like it's all going to balance out. Is that your view?
We have to balance out. If we want a sustainable society, that we don't get into like a civil war, any of that. We have to balance things out. We cannot just create all the wealth in one place. Like the level of wealth concentration to income concentration, income as a percentage of GDP at all-time lows, near all-time lows, profit as a percentage of GDP near all-time highs. These can't go on forever. We have run this for 20, 30, 40 years now, but the bills are coming due. So we have to think different. And this is not a political statement. I actually believe that the solutions aren't in the political arena today. We have to try new experiments. I look at it like a scientist. We have to try new things.
I mean, your keynote today on the long view was very insightful.
Thank you.
Right, and I take that and I take the numbers that Vijay was sharing with us. We often use a number called the Rule of 40. Takes a look to see where you're headed. And you're outperforming the market, even in the Rule of 40 as well. So when you look at that kind of piece, you guys have been reinvesting profits back into people and into the technology.
Right.
So tell us some of those advancements, things that you're proud of, where you see things going next.
Few things. One, of course, the platform strategy that's been evolving rapidly. Like we are moving from only doing products to complete platforms. That's part of the moving up markets. Larger companies have more complex requirements. They need the platforms, and that we've been investing heavily in. We have had some really good successes on that, particularly in our CRM Plus and all of that. And the second is, of course, the AI being infused around. We are particularly very happy with the smaller domain-specific models, which are also cheaper to run. And we are getting good payoff from that type of approach where we have a mix of models, smaller models, not one giant model. So that's one thing we are doing. The third is we are doing some real long-range experiments on fundamentally raising developer productivity, which is not just LLMs, which is not just about the size of the models. It also involves ensuring correctness of code, things like that. We are doing some critical work in that. I have to admit that it's still promising work. I don't have a product to show, but that's another third area. This necessarily will take the long term to deliver this, but once we deliver it, you will see massive impact.
Well, over the holiday, I had a chance to work with my son. He was on GitHub Copilot.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? I mean, what might have taken me a week to build a website on, he could do it in a day, test the code, get it out there.
Yeah.
It's a massive amount of productivity we're talking about.
Yes.
But I want to go back to the point where you talked about platforms. Unlike other companies and platforms, you guys are doing something different. So I take Zoho One, I can buy it, but every other vendor is forcing choice away from me.
Yeah.
You're allowing people to buy just the things they need
yeah.
and bundle them if they want to, and you're not holding them to it if they disappear.
Is
that a choice?
It is a choice. We actually believe in two cardinal virtues as a company to keep ourselves grounded. One is humility.
Okay.
Humility. The customer always comes first. Their needs take precedence over our need for immediate revenue or any of that first. The second is contentment. We have to stay contented because there's sometimes where you end up chasing growth for its own sake. And companies get in trouble when they do that. These two are the principles we practice, which is why we are able to do this. Like, if you don't need all of this, just buy the stuff you need, we'd be happy to give it to you.
But that was the original premise of SaaS, right? Everybody sold us on this, and it just became a marketing statement.
Correct.
You're living those principles,
Yes.
right? SaaS was about freedom of choice, payment models as you go, you pay per month. You don't force people onto an annual plan.
Yes, we don't. We still offer a monthly plan.
I know.
We're happy when customers take it. We don't force them into yearly plan, all of it,
It is remarkable. I mean, these were all
After all this size, we're at $1 billion scale, we're still doing it.
These are all marketing mantras, and now people have taken them away, right? They use that as a way to get into your organization, and then suddenly they cut you out. And I've gone from paying $50 a month to like $400, $500 a month. This is ridiculous.
The reason it happens is they didn't really believe in it when they said it.
Okay.
This was a tactical thing to get in the door.
Yes.
And there's no conviction.
I know.
But we actually have a principle that every action of ours has to have some conviction behind it. Like, why are we doing this? Do we believe in this?
Right.
And be honest with that question. That humility helps to answer that question. Sometimes, hey, we're doing it for the wrong reasons. Let's acknowledge it. So that is part of it.
Now, one of the other areas that we find very interesting in what you guys are delivering is this ability to deliver enterprise-class software to small, medium-sized companies.
Yes, that's a big deal, actually. So
huge deal.
The SMB software is kind of relegated to like a niche where it's not as powerful, it doesn't scale with you, all of it. We deliver all of it. Like, you can go from 2 employees to 200, 2,000, 20,000. We will scale with you.
Look, it's just democratization of that capability. I tell you this, but I'm not going to tell you who. I don't want to get into trouble. But a large services firm, their IT team met with us, and the question that they asked us was, could Zoho run a 500,000 person or million person organization? What would you say?
Yes, absolutely we can. We've just won a deal. We haven't announced fully yet. That same zone.
Caliber.
Million, same caliber, million seat kind of deal. So yes, we can do it. We will show you. Give us an opportunity. We will show you. And we will not say, give us the money, give us the opportunity, we'll show you.
I know, I heard that humility in your statement. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So when will you be running small governments? Because small governments are also in that same.
Correct.
They are locked in
Yes.
in a way that makes them very, very dependent on that technology.
Right. And it's we are doing it a lot. We are winning a lot of public sector deals all over the world, particularly in India too, and everywhere else, like Middle East, everywhere. But we are not a hard sell company. We don't go in and say, this push marketing, push sales, all that. We let the customer kind of sort of slowly figure us out, understand us. And because again, to me, like, I want to sleep well at night. I don't want to piss off customers by pushing hard. A lot of people do that. And the result of it is employee burnout, often CEO burnout.
We do see that.
A lot of CEOs, they can't do this job for a long period. I've done this for 27 years nearly now. I'm still going strong.
You look great. Look like you've been sleeping well.
Exactly. And that's because I don't push this hard. I say, okay, we can win this customer next year. Let's not push this hard if we are not truly ready. That's what I tell our people.
Well, you're living your practice, your values, and you're putting in place. Let's talk about McAllen, Texas. Why are we here today?
Yeah. We're here because, see, we looked around for communities that are reasonably small, but not too small. There's enough people. Two, that are, again, that are as humble as us, similar to our value system. And a demographic where we can recruit people and train, all of that. And low cost of living, affordable housing. Because we want this for our employees, because we want to keep them forever. If our employee can buy a home, build families, and all that, have children, they're more contented. They're more likely to be satisfied employees, which will lead to more satisfied customers. And McAllen sort of checked all the boxes. And then Raju sent an email to the mayor office. He got an instant response back.
I know. We saw the mayor there yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he was very, very welcome. Looking at the economic development that's there.
They have very aggressive sort of, they really walk their talk. They want you here. They go out of their way. So.
No, and I think what's really interesting in your statement here is housing has become such a huge issue.
Yes.
Right? Affordability is there because we've got constrained resources in concentrated areas.
Right.
If we would actually
spread it out. Yeah.
So
This is a huge country.
So this is transnational localism in action?
Exactly. This is a huge country. There's no need for housing shortage. There's no need for
it sounds funny when they say there's a housing shortage.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like when you're in London and people are like, we've got a housing shortage. Like, there's no homes in the UK. And I'm like, you could go 7 miles or 10 kilometers out and, there's nothing there. It's like farms.
See, India has a much higher population density.
Yes.
But we build stuff.
Yeah.
And there is take my city, Chennai. We built a lot of housing.
Yes.
There isn't like a big housing bubble there.
No.
People get reasonable, price. It's not too cheap, but it's not very expensive.
Well, it's not Bangalore.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, or Mumbai. So.
Yes.
So it's just tough. Okay, so we look at the future of Zoho. We come out 10 years later. The metrics that matter to you aren't necessarily the revenues. It's not necessarily the profits. What's the impact you will have?
Yeah. So we want to sort of be a company that proves out a certain propositions, I call it, philosophical propositions, that you can operate out of smaller towns. You can create really high impact R&D that helps the customer from smaller places. And you can create opportunities for people who didn't have it before. In fact, often they wouldn't have it if we didn't exist. So we can do all this, and we can have very happy customers, and we can actually make money doing this. And then put that money back into the ecosystem.
20 years ago, I heard a similar story before you. There was an elder gentleman. He used to sell soap, and then he started to sell computers, and he started to software, and he went to tier 2, tier 3 cities in India and offered people that opportunity. You're doing this at the global scale.
Yes.
So tell me about Kenya.
Yeah. So we actually have a growing business there.
Yes. I was looking at the numbers.
Yes, yeah, and we have a very good business there. So we are actually between Kenya and Nigeria now. We have a neck-to-neck thing going on.
Kenya, Nigeria, and Nairobi.
Nairobi. Yeah. So those are the Nairobi is in Kenya, right?
Yeah.
So we are doing it very well, and we definitely are. We are hiring people. We're again the same transnational localism. We're practicing there. So it's. I plan to go there sometime too. In fact, next month I'm going to Saudi Arabia, where we are investing there. It's a growth market for us.
No, it is. We see the growth markets right now, the Middle East,
Yeah.
countries who have large populations with that population growth still.
Exactly.
Those are the ones like Indonesia, that's another big
Yes.
spot. We also see, Africa is growing, especially given where they are with the
Right.
youth and the demographics.
Right. So LATAM is
And LATAM as well.
Mexico is doing very well for us. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to Mexico.
Well, we could just go there in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I think the border RGV is right
I'm
there.
going closer to Mexico City. So.
RGV's down here.
Right
We
there,
can head our way
yeah.
down there. So, all right. Well, we'll wrap this up real quickly. More importantly, right? What gets you excited? Like when we think about inspirations, people, concepts, ideas, what motivates you?
Really, two things there. One, if I make an employee happy, motivated, passionate, they are really happy to be working here. They're taking care of customers well. And then I meet customers who actually say, hey, you guys made a huge difference to my business. That's what gets me up and doing this.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, you really got to have that.
Yeah.
So you got to love that. Hey, Sridhar, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you,
It's
Ray.
been wonderful. Thank you for hosting
Thank
me
you.
here.
Thank you.
Really, really appreciate it. And look forward to our conversation in the future.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.